right, it's time for Fast Five. Let's get to our first topic. Gas prices are reported to be some of the lowest in 12 years for the summer time frame. What do we think about that, Colin?
I think that's wonderful. There is nothing that I could think about to complain about gas prices being low.
Wasn't it an election year the last time we saw really low gas prices too?
Well, you don't have an oil president in, so it's lower. I mean, we don't talk at all about cheap gas prices now. The business community don't talk about, what are you doing with the money now that you saved that you don't have to spend for gas? How's that being pumped back into the business? Before, when gas was $4, $3.89 a gallon, that's all you heard, how detrimental it was to the business.
Well, the reality is we haven't really had any increase in the cost of living expenses to most, or the cost of living wages that most people have. So most of that money is going into paying their bills because they haven't had those increases.
What you were paying before.
Mary, what do you think?
I don't know about you guys, but when I don't have a very high gas bill, I use the money. Obviously, I save some of it, but you know, I have extra money to spend, and it stimulates the economy. So I think it's great. It always makes me nervous though when gas prices go down. I'm always like kind of skeptical as to when they're going to come back up and they're going to shoot up and just blow us all off.
The real reality is we have developed the supplies that we have. North America now sits on more gas that we've discovered than Saudi Arabia, which hopefully is going to lead to our telling Saudi Arabia to go find a sandhill somewhere
and we're
they can
even
go
doing that
crawl
without
into.
the pipeline being built.
Okay, the secret deal with Iran allows restoration of their nuclear program in years to come. What do we think about that, Mary?
Well, it's very disappointing. I can't really say that I'm surprised, but it's exactly what you said. It was a secret deal, a side deal, and I don't think that we should be negotiating with terrorists. I don't think that, Iran being one of the largest, if not the largest, sponsors of terrorism, state sponsors of terrorism, why are we allowing them to get their hands on nuclear weapons and kind of have a renewed effort to grow their nuclear arms? It's very frustrating, and just the fact that it was secret makes me think, okay, something's sketchy here, something's fishy.
Ron?
I read some of the background information that you sent out, and it was a letter by one individual that really was saying this. The truth and the validity of whether it's true or not, again, it's political. It's a buzzword, again, for politics this
Well,
year.
and let's stop for a second, and I am going to finally disagree with you, Mary. Iran being a sponsor of state terrorism is it's a bogus term, because the vast majority of terrorism, true terrorism, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, are all Sunni groups. The groups that we label as terrorist groups, and there's a reason, a very good political reason we label them as terrorist groups, are groups like Hezbollah, like Hamas, and guess what they all have in common? Is they're fighting against Israel. There is a lot more politics that go into this. Our dealings with Saudi Arabia are more nefarious. The fact that we continuously support them are more nefarious than anything we could ever do with Iran.
I mean, I definitely agree with you. I'm just saying that, does that make it okay to deal, does that make it okay to kind of rub elbows with Iran? Just
I don't think we're necessarily rubbing elbows with Iran, but we have to deal with Iran at some point or another.
Yeah, you
we
can't
deal
not.
with a lot more nefarious people in the world. Iran is not what it was during the Iranian Revolution. Let's remember, the reason the Iranian Revolution is because we supported a dictator that deposed a democratically elected government, and we put him in place because we were playing a little chess game with the Russians.
All right. So HCC and the corporation JLG partner for a girls' engineering class. So I'm going to take the lead on this one, and I'm going to say, excellent job. I think this is another example of our part of our school, our education system in this county, reaching out to corporations not just for their financial capital, but for their intellectual capital as well. Colin, what say you?
I'm going to keep this one very brief, believe it or not. There is nothing that makes me happier than seeing girls involved in engineering and in sciences and everything else. I think that it's about high time that we got away from that gender stereotype that we've had for the longest time, and it couldn't say anything wrong with it.
Ron?
Ecstatic.
An excellent program. I think HCC's taken another step in trying to level the playing field, and I agree with you. And Mary, I'm sure you're really happy with scholarships and things for engineering, for so many things, civil engineering or whatever type of engineering. It just makes sense.
Absolutely. I mean, the STEM jobs do seem to be male dominated. So the fact that HCC, after a few years ago building this big STEM building, you know, they're reaching out now to JLG and offering this class. And I think it's great to inspire, you know, the next generation of young women who are involved in STEM. I think it's great.
And again, from my perspective, one of the things I think Dr. Altieri has done really well at Hagerstown Community College is engage the business community, both through the Technical Innovation Center, the new STEM Center, the new programs that we have out there. There's just a lot of things going on. All right. Governor Hogan targets Interstate 270 congestion.
Quite a project.
I'd
to
rather
take on.
he tackle I-81 congestion, but I guess this is a good start. Ron, what do you think?
270 is a major problem, getting, you know, in the evening from Washington. You know, one of the political candidates for Congress talked about making 1 or 2 lanes, or at least one of those lanes reversible, where you could use 3 lanes to bring people back to Western Maryland in the evening. If that would work, I don't know. Someday, I still think you need to look at more night work to have more people using the roads at night, which they're bare.
Well, there's a couple of different things, and I think, you know, the federal government has taken a lead on telecommuting. So the IRS, for instance, requires 1/3 of their workforce to be remote at any given time. The other piece is, yes, we need to tackle we need to tackle congestion, but how many more lanes can you add to 270? Why are we not talking about maybe bringing a MARC line out here? You know, why does
That makes
Martinsburg
sense.
do so well? Because they have a MARC line that goes right into DC. And I have a lot of colleagues that live in Martinsburg because it's easier to get in DC.
Mary?
I completely agree. And to your point about 81 being, you know, easier to travel on, alleviating traffic on 270 will help alleviate the traffic on 81. I mean, it goes hand in hand. They connect, you know.
Okay,
They
last
do,
topic,
don't
and
they?
we've got about 10 seconds each on this. Chef Voltaggio, who recently opened the family meal location in Hagerstown, and of course has the Volt restaurant in Frederick, is changing at least one of the family meals to a different style of restaurant. What do we think about that?
Unfortunately, I have yet to go to the Hagerstown family meal location, but I went to the one in Frederick a few years ago, and it was amazing. I loved it. So anything that, you know, if he is kind of making this move as a businessman to appeal to whatever, you know,
Clientele,
tastes are around, then I think, you know, it's great.
All right, Ron?
I just was over Frederick to his other restaurant not long ago, and it's a great restaurant. He sees a need for what he did, and he has the ability to adapt to that need. And sometimes we don't have that ability around town. You remember Connie Nicopolis years ago had the
Sure.
Majestic hot dog place? He opened up the cellar door, overwhelming success, but then he opened up 2 more and couldn't take care of
Yeah,
the other
couldn't.
2,
Right.
and they all went out of business.
Yep. I remember the cellar door. That was a good restaurant.
It was a good
too.
place, but he
Colin?
won too many.
I don't really have an opinion because I haven't been there yet, but I think, you know, certainly adapting to the local market is pretty much a core paradigm of being a successful business person. So
I hear the fried chicken is great.
Oh, it is good. That's what I had.
Oh, you'll get
It's
the
super
last word on that. All right, stay tuned. Last call is next.